Hey guys, I'm John Setzler and welcome back to Atlanta Grill Company. Today I have a beautiful rack of beef plate ribs and we're going to incorporate some of my methods along with Myron Mixon's methods to hopefully produce some amazing smoked beef ribs. So let's get started. So the star of today's show is this beautiful big rack of beef plate ribs, dino bones, call them what you will. This is a 3-bone, 6.5 pound rack, and I'm gonna get started by taking the fat cap off the top of this. And now that I've got that fat cap off, I'm gonna season this guy liberally with my Atlanta Grill Company Himalayan Sherpa salt, pepper, and garlic blend. And this is one area where my method differs from Myron's. Myron injects before he seasons his, but I'm going to dry brine these guys with this, just like this, in the refrigerator overnight. This one's actually going to go about 24 hours, so I'm going to give that a little bit of time to adhere before I work on the edges. And now that I have that seasoned on the edges, what I'm going to do is put it on my little pan, which is barely big enough to hold it, and I'm going to get some of my Himalayan Sherpa on the back side of these and give that a chance to adhere. And once this adheres, I'm going to flip it back over and just leave it uncovered on this pan in the refrigerator overnight. Okay, I've let our ribs dry brine overnight, so we're gonna roll off today by bringing our bark up to 300 degrees. While our grill's coming up to temperature, I've gone ahead and taken my ribs out of the refrigerator. These guys went for right at about 24 hours in this dry brine. So what I'm gonna do now is I've just got some beef broth and I'm gonna use my injector, and we're going to inject these ribs as best we can with about 2 cups of beef broth. And I'm just going to, hit it along the length of these ribs all the way down. And now that I have those injected, I'm going to let that sit for about 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to go to the grill. Okay, my Bark 2400 is up to temp, and I'm gonna set this rack of ribs on a tray in here, and we're gonna let this cook. Now Myron's technique in his video, he did this first stage for 2 hours, but my rack of ribs is a good bit larger than the racks he cooked. So we're gonna come back and look at it in 2 hours, and I'll decide whether or not we're gonna go for extra time at that point. Okay, we've been on here for 2 hours, so let's have a look. The color is developing nicely on these, but I'm gonna let these go for another 45 minutes at least. So we'll come back sometime between 45 minutes and another hour and have another look at these. All right, we are right at the 3-hour mark, and these things are looking really good, so we're gonna move on to the next phase of this cook. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna move this cook into a foil pan, and I am going to take my beef ribs on the little wire rack that I had them on and move those right over here to this pan. And then we're gonna add some apple juice. I think Myron added about 2 cups of apple juice to the base of his pan, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do the same thing. And then he also took a crumpled up sheet of pink butcher's paper and folded that down across the top of those ribs, and then he covered the pan with foil, which is exactly what we're going to do here. And he went back to the smoker for 2.5 to 3 hours, but what we're looking for here is an internal temperature on these ribs of 210 degrees. So we're gonna go right back to the smoker with that pan and let those guys keep going. And I'm gonna come back and check on these in about 2 hours to see where our temperature is, and we'll have a look. Okay folks, we've been 2.5 hours here in the pan. My ribs temperature is up to 210, so we're gonna take this off and have a look. Okay, we're gonna pop the foil off of these for a moment and have a look at what we've got going on inside here. I want you to take a look at that. Man, those look amazing, and they are absolutely jello tender. You can see that wiggle? That's exactly what you're looking for. So I'm gonna cover these back up, put the foil back on there, and we're gonna let those rest for 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, before we take those off to have a look closer. All right guys, these ribs are done. I've rested them for about 20 minutes here. So what I'm gonna do is just take my slicer and come down here, break these guys out. I want to have a look here. These things are amazing. I want you to take a look at that. Look at how juicy those things are. Guys, that's crazy. Okay, so I've rearranged these a little bit here where you can see a little bit more. I'm going to take a piece off of this back one here, and these things are just barely holding on to the bone. When you cook these things this tender, you should probably expect fall off the bone, which is about what we've got here, but I'm gonna have a bite of that. Guys, that's amazing. So guys, you're gonna have to give this technique a try. This is, like I said, I got this technique from a Myron Mixon video, and it's very good. It's produced extremely tender beef ribs. These beef ribs will pull apart with a fork. They're so tender. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. Until next time, this is John Setzler with the Atlanta Grill Company.